Once upon a time, there was a beautiful, beautiful mansion. It was absolutely gorgeous. A rich man lived there. His wife was very, very sick. She lay in bed close, very close to death. The wife called her daughter to her bedside and said, "Dear, you know that I will very soon die. I will be up in heaven, and I will watch over you. I will protect you." The daughter looked at her mother and said, "No, no." The mother looked at her daughter and said, "Farewell, I love you," and closed her eyes in death. The daughter cried and ran to her father and hugged her father and said, "Mother's gone, mother's gone." The father hugged his daughter, but he was very shocked. He couldn't believe that his wife was gone. Well, every day the daughter went to her mother's grave, and she looked at the grave and brought flowers and cried, "I miss you, mother, I miss you." She cried and cried every day, every day. Wintertime came, and the snow fell, and there was a white cover of snow on the grave. When the snow melted, it was springtime. The father married again. His new wife, the one he just married, she had 2 daughters. The 2 daughters came, and these 2 daughters were ugly. Their hearts were not kind. They were mean. They were jealous. Cinderella, she patiently accepted everything they did. They picked on her. But she kindly accepted it and went about her way, singing and being very cheery. The stepsisters were upset. Well, now, the king made a proclamation. "We will have a ball. All of the beautiful women are invited to come. Everyone come, and we will dance. You will meet a partner, and you will dance. You may meet the prince." The stepsisters were so excited. They were making ready for the ball. They started to make dresses, but they thought, "No, we don't want to make dresses. We'll tell our father to go to town and buy us beautiful, fancy, beautiful ball gowns. We'll have diamonds to wear around our necks and beautiful diamond earrings." Cinderella, she, didn't have nice clothes. The stepmother said she must cook and clean and wash the clothes and do all of the chores. The other sisters gave her more and more work, but Cinderella just took it. She worked so hard and tried to finish, but they gave her more work. It went that way over and over again. Cinderella, she looked like she was very cheery and friendly. The animals in the forest loved her. The birds sang as Cinderella sang. Cinderella would sing and the birds would sing. The birds would chirp along with Cinderella's song. Well, it seemed that they had magic. The birds were able to help Cinderella. Different kinds of birds came from everywhere. The frogs came. The rabbits hopped up and helped. Cinderella would sing a beautiful song. She had a gorgeous voice. When the work was done, she went to her stepmother and said, "Okay, I'm ready. I want to go to the ball." The 2 sisters said, "No, you can't go. You don't have anything to wear." Cinderella said, "No, don't worry. I can make something." The 2 stepsisters went away. Cinderella thought, "Well, what can I do?" The animals helped her and made a beautiful gown. She was ready to go. Well, the 2 stepsisters came and saw this dress and started to tear things off her and said, "That's mine, that's mine." And her beautiful gown was ruined. She started to cry. She ran deep into the forest and cried and cried and cried. The animals came to her side and tried to make her feel better. The birds listened to her cry. The rabbits went by her side. Well, on the scene came a fairy godmother. Cinderella was crying, and she looked and saw, "Who are you?" "Well, I'm your fairy godmother." "How can I help you?" "Well, I want to go to the ball and meet the prince." "Don't worry, you can go to the ball. Don't worry, stay right here." Hocus pocus abracadabra. Poof. And magically, a beautiful gown appeared. She had a crown, beautiful little earrings, a gorgeous outfit. Cinderella looked in amazement and said, "Thank you, thank you." "But how will I get there?" "Oh, don't worry, I've got magic." The fairy godmother got a pumpkin and took a few field mice. "Ready? Here we go. Abracadabra, calamazoo." And magically, the pumpkin became a chariot with horses. The mice became horses. They had beautiful flowing tails, but I forgot something. Who's going to drive? The fairy godmother went and looked for something, and she did her magic again, and there she had a man to drive for her. He opened the door, and Cinderella, with her beautiful gown, said, thank you," and went into the carriage. Now the fairy godmother warned Cinderella, "You must be home by the time the clock strikes 12. When the clock strikes 12, the magic will be over." Cinderella said, "Oh, don't worry. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you." She lifted her beautiful dress and went into the carriage. She sat there enjoying the ride, and she was so excited. She got closer and closer to the palace, and she arrived and went into the beautiful palace. As Cinderella got out of the carriage, people were admiring her fine clothes. The people who were dancing round and round and round and round. They were dancing around the ballroom, twirling around. The two stepsisters and other people started looking around, trying to see, who is that girl? Who is she? The stepmother looked and said, "It seems to be Cinderella." The other people were straining their necks to see. The prince, as soon as he saw her, he saw that she was gorgeous. He went up to her and said, "May I have this dance?" Cinderella said, "Oh, yes." They began to dance. They floated around and around the ballroom. They danced, and as they danced, the time passed. The clock kept ticking. She heard the strike of the bell. Bong, bong, bong. Oh, Cinderella was dancing, but she said, "Oh, excuse me, I really have to go." The prince said, "No, please, what is your name? Give me your..." "No, I can't, I must go." She started to run, and she heard the bell ring again. She kept running, and the bell rang again. Bong, 11, Bong, 12. The clock struck 12. Cinderella was running and her shoe fell off. She went back to pick it up, but the prince was coming. Well, she had to go. She kept running and running and running and left her shoe. She ran all the way home. Her beautiful gown fell into her old rags, and she was dirty again. She went to the woods and started to cry. The prince went down the stairs and found the slipper, the beautiful slipper. And he said, This is the shoe. The woman who will fit this shoe, I will marry her. The prince went to his father, the king, and showed him the slipper. We must find the woman who fits this slipper. I will marry her immediately. The king said, okay, and he told all of the women who had been to the ball, any of the women, they should be in their homes. The prince went to the home, knocked on the door, and tried to fit the slipper on the girls. One was too small. The other one was too big. He decided to give up. At last, he came upon Cinderella's home. He went into the home, and the two stepsisters were so excited. They tried to put the shoe on, but they cheated. They curled their toes up and wrapped them tightly, and the shoe fit. It was a perfect fit. She began to walk off with the prince, but she was walking kind of funny. She was walking, and she was limping, actually. The prince said, "Let me see." "No, I'm sorry, you're not the one. It's not you." She was heartbroken. She said, "But the shoe was a perfect fit." He said, "No, I'm sorry." The other sister did the same thing. She stuffed her foot in that shoe. She cheated and walked, but the prince said, "No, it's not this one." He was ready to leave, and he thought, "Well, do you have one more sister?" "Oh, no, just a cleaning woman. She didn't go to the ball." "That doesn't matter. I want to see her." Okay, they called for Cinderella, and she came down to the room. The prince had his aide go to Cinderella. Cinderella sat down and put up her foot. He put the slipper on, and it was a perfect fit. The prince said, "It's you! That's it! My true love! It's you!" The second the shoe went on, magically Cinderella's rags became a fine gown. The prince looked and saw the beauty. This is my true love. He proposed marriage. Cinderella accepted. The two of them went to the father's house, and he introduced his bride to the king. People came from near and far for a ball. They wanted to celebrate the prince's marriage. The two stepsisters looked on in jealousy. The prince and his bride danced around and around, and they lived happily ever after.